You're listening to Her Sage Talks. I'm your host, Jo. Grab yourself a virtual bundle of sage and let's clear the air together as our guests share transformative wisdom to help you elevate your life. So today we are going to introduce a good friend of mine, another Baydestrian, an Oakland native, a man who wears many hats, from music to DJing to bomb-ass photography, and a travel explorer that I envy and follow a lot. Welcome, Brandon, formerly known as Beegis.
What's up, Jo? I really appreciate you having me on. And let's get to it.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I have been just keeping up on all your social media. Whenever I get travel FOMO, I just go to your page, and it's just so dope to see what you do, because the way you travel is so dope. Like, what have you been up to? What's been going on in Brandon's world lately? Because I feel like sometimes I can't keep up even.
Right. Things have been fucking crazy, actually. So, we'll get into this more later on, but I, took a 3-month break from life really to go explore on some, more like long-term travel. And so now I'm back home and just kind of like trying to acclimate myself back to the Bay Area life and trying to figure out where I'm going with my life now. Cause, I quit my job and I don't want to go back to having another job. So like, I can't even keep track of how many times I've had a transition in life. And this is just another brand new transition that I'm going through in life right now. So I don't know where I'm going to end up, but yeah, I'm in that void right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I feel that. I think that's the cool thing about being from the Bay, though. Like, we're just so good at figuring it out and really diving into our intuition and listening to that intuition and just taking a leap of faith. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, it's a big privilege to be, to have grown up where I grew up and to have grown up around the people that I've grown up around, because it's a real good hustler mentality. And yeah, so that type of stuff, just when you are growing up around hustlers and entrepreneurs and people making a way like that, it will always rub off on you. But it's, stepping stones have been laid before me so I can see how to do it and, just be inspired by those around me. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like there's always that little in between things that we go through, because being in the Bay, we are all so surrounded with tech and all of the different big businesses around us. And we kind of get sucked in and we lose ourselves a little bit, and we got to sever those ties and find ourselves again and what we're really passionate about. So what are you working on? What are you passionate about right now? What are those projects that are keeping you energized?
Right. So, passion, it's always travel. So just trying to get myself ready for whatever my next adventure is going to be. But more specifically, so when I was gone on that sabbatical, I, was taking so many photos, and usually on this journey of photography, I, will, take photos, edit them, and I put them on my socials. But this trip specifically, I didn't really post any of the photos that I took, like the professional photos that I took, because I wanted to release like a coffee table book. So that's what I'm actively working on right now, is getting this photo book done. And it's also the first time that I've done a photo book. So not only am I, the process is picking the photos, of course, taking the photos and editing them, but it's also the process of picking which photos I want to represent all 5 countries that I went to, and then figuring out the layout, and then, doing the research on the dimensions of the book and the type of paper, and, it's a lot that goes into it. So, not only am I making this book, but I'm also researching and learning how to make a photo book. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
That's dope. Yo, I can't wait to add that to my coffee table, by the way.
For sure.
Yo, for real, like
I
that
love
that
it.
just sounds so dope. I can't wait to make my little espresso at home and sip a cup of sip a cup of coffee and look through the photo book. I'm excited for you. That's really, really cool, man.
I appreciate that.
So you said you went to 5 countries. Like give us a little backstory. Like what inspired you to quit your job and like just go on this sabbatical and hit up these 5 countries?
Right. So I guess it starts back at the beginning of my little travel career. So I went my very first time out of the country. I went to Japan, and I went with a bunch of friends, and did the whole friends trip and all through Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto. But then 5 months after that, I went to Thailand, and it was a very special trip because Thailand is dope, but it was also my very first solo trip, and like actually backpacking and staying in hostels and kind of figuring it out as I go. And that trip, forever changed my life because it just completely switched, what I was passionate about, what was important to me in life. And ever since that trip, I've gone on multiple trips and just completely changed what I was focused on in life so that I could do more travel basically. And so, it would be like, I would take maybe 1 or 2 trips a year, but it would be the normal, 10 days, 2 weeks. If I was lucky, I'd get 3 weeks, maybe a month. But it was always this, like one country, couple of weeks. And, I'm meeting people and they're like, oh yeah, I'm on, month 4 of my 8 months traveling, and like, and I gotta go back home and get back to fucking working. And every single time I'm heartbroken. And like for years I have been yearning to be able to do like a multi-month, multi-country trip. And I really, really love Southeast Asia. So I've been to Thailand a couple of times. I have been to Vietnam a couple of times, but each time it was always just like, a couple of weeks, couple of days. And it's like, man, I really want to do like a long form travel, a long form trip, I should say. And so that was pretty much the inspiration. And I had been planning, like loosely planning to do something like this. I didn't know when it was going to happen, but the opportunity kind of fell into my lap. So I was working in tech. I was working at Twitter, and that bitch ass nigga, I was about to say Donald Trump, but Elon Musk came in and did
Oh man.
the huge sweep, and laid off a huge population of the company. And I was one of those ones that was laid off, and I kind of knew that that layoff was going to happen. And so I was like, well, shit, if I'm going to get laid off, I'll probably get a cool severance. I've been saving money for a couple of years. And so, like, also when it happened, it was in November last year. So November 2020. And my birthday is December. So, for every December, I go somewhere for my birthday. So I was like, damn, okay, the timing would be right for me to take a couple months off. And, if I'm gonna be laid off, let's just go and spend some months somewhere. But I ended up landing another, like a 6 month contract at another company. And so I was like, well, shit, I'll just take this 6 months, stack up some more bread. Then that will leave me to leave in the summertime. And it actually works out because my daughter would be out of school. It won't be so disruptive to her life. And, because I do a lot of the transportation to and from school. So, like, it won't fuck up her mom's situation. And so it just kind of worked out that I was able to do it through the summer. And so, yeah, like I said, the opportunity just kind of fell into my lap, and I jumped on it. So, yeah.
Mhm. That's dope, man. And I feel you. I have traveled quite a bit myself, and that post-travel depression that you get, oh man, that is just hard, you know what I mean? And I think Americans are known, and I don't know if the statistics are true or not, but I have heard that, Americans work a lot more than most people in other countries. Like, I talk to a lot of my European friends, and they're just like, Yeah, we don't work when we don't work. And when we work, we work, but we take our holidays. And I'm like, damn, that's dope. So to hear that you're able to do it for 3 months, man. So what countries did you go to?
So I went to Thailand. So like this is how it was. So the first 2 weeks of this 3 months, my dad, my daughter, and myself went to Thailand. So we flew out there together and then traveled around the country for 2 weeks. Then they flew home together, and then I continued by myself. So after that 2 weeks, I flew to Indonesia. Then after Indonesia, actually flew back to Thailand and spent another couple of weeks there. Then made my way into Laos, and then into Cambodia, and then from Cambodia, I flew to Tokyo. So like I basically forced a layover. So like did a one way to Tokyo, spent a couple of days there, and then got another one way home. So
Would you say that one of them are your favorites, or did you prefer or have a better experience that one, over one or the other?
yeah, so overall, Thailand is still my favorite country, and it's been my favorite country since 2017. That hasn't changed. But on for that sabbatical, Indonesia was my favorite.
What made it your favorite?
So what I like in a country is like it needs to be cheap. It needs to have a good backpacking infrastructure. So like, easy to get around, a lot of like cool quality hostels, but also popular enough that it has like other backpackers and other travelers there. So I'm not actually alone while I'm traveling, and like a tropical environment with like warm water and like beautiful landscapes and sunsets and sunrises and stuff like that. Also like varied landscapes. So like, if I can hike a mountain, but I can also go and swim in the ocean on some islands. You know what I mean? I need that varied adventure within a country. And so like that's one of the main reasons why I love Thailand so much, because it ticks all the boxes that I like in a country. And so does Indonesia. Like it had everything that I like. It was a new country. So like, Thailand, I've been to a bunch. So it was like, I'm seeing new things. I'm experiencing new culture, eating new foods. So it ticked every box that I like in a country, where the other countries that I visited during that trip only kind of like ticked a couple of things, where it might have good mountains, but it didn't have like good islands and water, or, like the food was good, but the weather wasn't the best. But like Indonesia had everything that I like in the country. So,
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. So you said that you stayed in hostels,
hmm
and I think there is like it could just be the US and how we're socialized and all the media and the movies that are made, but I think there's a big fear for people here in the US that stay in hostels. Can you like tell us your experience? Because I have myself personally never stayed in hostels. I've done a lot of solo travel, but I feel like I can save a shit ton of money if I learned how to stay in hostels. Like what inspired you to try staying in hostels, and what's that experience like? Because it does seem like you tend to build this really cool community when you're traveling.
right. So for me, how I got into staying in hostels is just the like adventurous spirit that I have, right? So like when I was doing research on travel in general, I'm like, I want to experience everything. I want to meet everybody. I want to try every food. I want to see everything, like do as much as I can. And when I learned about these hostels, like it excited me so much, because it's like, damn, I'm about to go and like there's an opportunity to be around all these like dope individuals that are super open minded, like, super fun and like open to everything. And that's just who I am. So I love to be around those type of people. And for me, it's a very big contrast to the niggas that I grew up around in Oakland, where it's people aren't that adventurous, people aren't that open to things that are different than them and their culture and what they grew up around. But I've always been the opposite, where it's like, if I'm experiencing the same people, the same things every day, that's absolute insanity to me. And so, like, when I hear about what these hostels were, like, in my mind at the time, it's like, damn, it seems like it's everything that I want. Like, to this day, I'm 38 years old, and which is like on the older side when it comes to like staying in hostels, right? But I don't think I would ever stop because they are very cheap. So, you can stay in like some really cool locations for a lot cheaper than you would if you were staying in a hotel or Airbnb. Usually they're in like super dope locations. You have the benefit for somebody like me that likes to be social. You have a chance to be social. You have a chance to be around like-minded individuals, open-minded individuals, and more like adventurous type of people. And I mean, I don't know. To me, they're just really, really dope. And a lot of times people think that when you stay in hostels, you have to stay in the dorm rooms. A lot of people don't realize that hostels also have private rooms. So not all hostels, but a lot of hostels will have private rooms, and they are also still cheaper than hotels and Airbnbs. But you have that added benefit of having being around other people, other travelers, and having that social crowd.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I feel that. I feel that. I feel like those are the folks that really have that growth mindset and want to just explore and learn and push the boundaries of what they came from to what they can become, right? So I love that. I am definitely going to have to check out some hostels myself. I have been looking at some in like Latin America, but I think the woman in me is kind of like, okay, what is that like? How do I build a community? How do I do it safely? And how do I maintain that level of confidence, I think, when traveling in hostels and being in these environments. So that's dope. Yeah, that's like really, really dope to hear that from you. And when you look for hostels, like do you look for anything, like do you do any checks and balances, or is there anything specific that you look for when you look for hostels?
Yeah, so I mostly there's a website and an app called Hostel World, and that's pretty much like the industry standard when it comes to searching for and like booking various hostels. And so when you go on there, of course they have the reviews. And so like my process for finding a hostel is I will go onto Hostel World and like search the city, and then I'll look for all the hostels in like the nine and up, right? And then while I'm on the site, there's a couple of like parameters within the reviews, and one of the main ones that I look for is like the atmosphere. And I want a hostel that has like a atmosphere that's like a eight and up. And basically what that is like how fun it is, how much will the staff be involved with like activities and like games and things like that. Cause a lot of the times when you're by yourself, you show up to a hostel and it's like, people have been there for a week before you, and everybody has their kind of like cliques and things like that. It can sometimes get hard to like break the ice and come down, like it's my first day here, but I got to go into the common area and, introduce myself to everybody when everybody already is like gotten to know each other. And so the staff can help ease that, like break the ice for you when they'll do certain activities and like group dinners and things like that. So like all that kind of gets bundled up into this atmosphere rating. And so I will look for a high atmosphere, and then I'll cross reference that like on Reddit and things like that, because you can get a little bit more of a user experience. So yeah, that's usually what it is. It's like if it's a high rated hostel, how many reviews does it have? And then also how high is the atmosphere rating on that hostel?
I think you just inspired me to take a little shift on my next travels. I'm definitely gonna check out that site because I had no idea. Look, I'm just so used to what I'm used to. I do Airbnb experiences for the most part, but I think my experience in traveling has been a lot more legwork because of that, though, because I'll book an Airbnb, right? So I have like a private space and whatever. And then just so that I can get acclimated into the community that I'm traveling to. I'll try to do like a cooking class or a language class, and just so I can meet people. But this is dope. I had no idea there's hostels that cater to that kind of social community interaction.
Right, exactly. And like, don't forget that a lot of these hostels will have private rooms, right? So you can have your own space. So you don't have to really worry about, sharing space with other people when you want to go and retreat into your own little bubble. Like you have the space to do that, but you just get that added benefit, like of the, you want to do a cooking class. Some of these hostels will have their own cooking class, but you're just doing it with the other people that are living in the hostel as well. So, when people watch my stories, they're always like, damn, how do you meet all these people? It's usually because I'm staying in hostels.
That's
And
usually what I'm thinking. Like, how does he know so many
right.
people when he travels? I'm just like, I'm pretty social when I travel, and I don't get to that level ever.
Right. And you know what's crazy though? Like, I am not the type of person that, like, if I go somewhere and I'm staying in a hotel room or like an Airbnb, I am really like lonely because I don't have it in me to like go out to a bar by myself and like approaching random people to say what's up, introduce myself like that. But the environment at hostels, at least for myself, makes it a lot more comfortable to do that. So
Yeah. No, no, no. I'm the same way. Like, I have my moods, but that's why that's why I have my cooking classes or language classes that I try to take to break the ice for myself, because, facilitating that in an open environment like a club or a bar is like it can be overwhelming, right? Especially if you see other people that are there with other people and you're just there by yourself and you eavesdrop on a conversation. It's kind of
right.
awkward.
You try to weigh in on the conversation. The niggas looking at you like, who the fuck are you? Why are you talking to us right now?
And it's so funny because I have traveled solo and I get that itch, right? Where I'm just like, man, I want to make a friend today. I was traveling one time through northern Italy by myself. And the only reason why I went to northern Italy, I think, was because I wanted to go to Morocco, but I had read numerous blogs about women not recommending there as a woman going there solo. And I was just like, okay. And I was sitting in Barcelona and I was like, let's just go to Italy. So I flew to Milan, not knowing that colorism is very prevalent in a country like Italy. However,
Oh shit.
so it was like really hard to strike up a conversation with people in some places, but then, I would try to spark up a conversation and people would be like, okay, awkward, walking away.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, all right, well, that didn't work. And it was a totally different experience when I had to southern Italy. Like, everyone was super friendly, but I was only there for a day, so that didn't last too long.
Right, right. Yeah, I think you should try the hostels next time you go out. And if you don't like it, you can always just go back to your Airbnb style. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely gonna have to try that out. So you talked about a little bit about going, traveling and having a different mindset than what you're used to back in Oakland. Like, do you get a lot of slack, or like what are the type of comments or feedback that you get from people back home when they see you traveling this way?
Yeah, these niggas is crazy, but I ain't gonna lie, it gets under my skin some of the dumb shit that people will say to me in my comments, and it's gotten worse because so during this sabbatical, my I guess you could just say my followers kind of went up a lot. Okay, so I've gotten a lot more attention on my content than I've gotten before. And so there's been a lot of comments from people that I don't know. So it's like, if a post goes viral, it will then be just, seen by so many people. And so all these random people will start weighing in. But even before this, like just my homies will be commenting some of the dumbest shit. And that's why I started this like series where I say, here's episode whatever of the dumb shit people say to me while they're sitting on their couch. Right. And so like I will call out people. Usually what I was doing before when it was like a friend, I would just like cover up their name and then post a comment and let people, do what they want. But like now I've been doing it and actually like blasting people because I don't know who these people are, these like new motherfuckers. And some of this shit, like people are just so like ignorant, and it really, really pisses me off because it's like, you're seeing somebody have fun and you could see like the joy on their face while they're doing something, and you would still, the first thing that comes to your mind is like, look at the dumb shit that this nigga's doing. You know what I mean? That's just so backwards to me. Like if I'm watching somebody do something that I wouldn't personally do, but I can tell that they're having a great time, what that would do is either would make me want to try what they're doing, or it would make me at least just want to get out and go do things that make me happy so I can feel the joy that this person is feeling. It's not, I'm not going to be like commenting like, oh, you're hella dumb. You're doing this dumb shit. Or, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so opposite of who I am. So like, yeah, that shit is.
Well, I will say one thing, Brandon, you have trolls. That means you low key made it.
No,
Like,
you're right. You're right.
so, attitude of gratitude right here. You low key
Right.
made it.
Yeah, that's definitely a glass half full type of mentality. Jesus Christ.
So, like when you're traveling and you're having these experiences, you're connecting with random people that you're meeting through these hostels. Like, what are some of these experiences like? Like, do you have any like crazy fun stories or dating exploration tips or anything like that you can share with the audience?
Right. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a hard question to answer. Well, no, it's not that hard, but like, I mean, right now I can't think of any like super crazy stories that were like, but you meet people that, okay, one thing I can say is like the British are fucking crazy. All right. So one thing that, like a piece of advice that I could give to a person that has not traveled and has not stayed in hostels, when you stay in a hostel, find the group. Okay. Sorry. If you stay in a hostel and you're looking to have a great fucking time, find the Brits in your hostel. Okay. Because these niggas know how to drink and they know how to have a good fucking time. And you probably annoy everybody else in the hostel, but that's okay. You know what I mean? Like you'll be that annoying person for a couple of days and then you'll move on and you'll be good. But like the first thing that just popped into my mind, and it's nothing crazy, but like when I was in Indonesia, I was on an island called Gili T, and it's known for being like a party island. And I always like will go to the party places because usually the party places will attract people that just want to have fun. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to drink if you're not a drinker. You don't have to, but like usually it just attracts the people that want to have a good time. And so I ended up on this island and I was about to leave and go to another island, but I tried to book a hostel on the next island like last minute and it was booked up. So I was like, here, I'll stay one more night here so I can book this, hostel the next day or whatever. So I go to a new hostel, and this hostel was like a real party hostel. And I ended up just meeting like some of the best people that I met throughout that whole 3 months. And this hostel did a sunset cruise every night. So they would go and charter a boat, and the boat had like a Bluetooth speaker on it. And the price of your boat ticket, it came with like 2 free cocktails and a beer. And then you could also purchase more alcohol and stuff like that. And so we got on this boat and we just like, we go out into the ocean and we are just chilling like on the boat in the water as the sun sets, and the sun set behind a volcano. And so like you could just imagine how fucking beautiful this is, like tropical location. So that the sky was absolutely gorgeous as the sun was setting behind this big ass volcano. And I'm like watching this while I'm surrounded by all these like beautiful fun people in the water floating, beer in hand, music blasting, like total highlight of my, not only just these 3 months, but like of my life. You know what I mean? I know this day is one of the things I'm gonna be looking back on with like a huge smile on my face.
Core memory unlocked.
100%, 100%. I mean, I guess when it comes to dating, so my view on the dating while traveling is kind of all over the place. And so, I'm usually the oldest person staying at the hostel. So the dating hasn't really been that successful for me because it's like, I'm kind of kicking it with like people that are like, low to mid 20s. There's not that many 30-year-olds that stay in hostels. And so, you know, I I don't really even try that hard to, date and do all that stuff. If it happens, it happens. But so on this 3 months, I met somebody and, she's from Finland and we kind of doing our thing. And so I don't know if I have any advice. I just like, be open, you know what I'm saying? Cause you never know who you're going to meet. You never know what type of person you're going to run into. And like, so just like with anything in my life and with all this travel stuff, like just be open to all experiences that come your way. Cause you just never know who it is you're going to meet. You know what I'm saying? And like that can kind of also even go outside of the dating world because, you might meet somebody who is, like haven't even graduated college, but they, you know what? Okay, I got a perfect example on what I'm talking about. So I have a friend, his name's Takai. He's from Oakland and he's in the film industry, right? And so before I left on the sabbatical, he was like, B, you would be perfect to be like a film scouting person, right? So like a location scout or whatever. And so like, these are the people that go and scout locations for movies to film scenes or whatever, right? And so he just was kind of randomly telling me how perfect I would be for something like this because I like to travel and all these things. And so he's like, you never know. Like he's like, kind of look out for these type of roles, but like while you're gone, just kind of keep your ears open for any opportunities that could like lead you in the route of being a location scout. And so while I'm in Indonesia, I'm doing like this 2-day volcano hike. And one of the dudes on the volcano hike is literally a film location scouter. You know what I mean? And so it's just like you just never know who you're gonna meet and like what type of shoulders you're gonna or elbows you're gonna be rubbing while you're on these trips. So like this can go into the dating, but also just any aspects of life. You just never know who you're gonna meet because when you're in these locations, it attracts people worldwide. You know what I mean? So your network can be vast.
That is amazing. So, like, you just got back, right? Not too long ago from this 3 month sabbatical. Like, how do you feel like this experience might have shifted your mindset and maybe even your goals for the next 5 to 10 years? Like, how do you see yourself now versus how did you see yourself before?
If I'm being honest, nothing really in me has shifted because like since 2017 I have my whole thing shifted then when it was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to figure out a way to travel like full time, long term. And so, like, I feel accomplished because I was able to do this little 3 month sabbatical, which has been a goal of mine since 2017. So, like, I feel accomplished that I've like checked off a major bucket list off my list. But I could say the one thing that is, shifted or changed is like this is the first time since being 18 that I don't have a job. Like I've always kept a job, 18 years old, get a job, but then at 23 I had a daughter. So it's like I couldn't afford to ever really, not have a consistent paycheck. And I've always like had these artistic endeavors in my life, but this is like the very first time that I'm able to not have to worry about having a 9 to 5. You know what I mean? So it's like I can say that's the biggest change. So I'm able to float myself until February. And so if I can't get nothing to shake entrepreneurial side, then I'll go back to getting a job. But like as of right now, this is the first time in my life where at least, since I was 18 that I've been able to like, I'm a full-time entrepreneur now. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
So yeah.
That's dope. No, that's big, big. Because once you experience that, it's kind of hard to go back, right?
Right. I'm like, man, if I got to get another job, goddamn, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do with myself. Shit.
Gonna have to make all your work screensavers on the computer like these different pictures that you've been taking.
Right, exactly. Seriously. Sheesh.
Lots of break time meditations and picturing yourself
Man.
with a beer in hand in the water.
Right, exactly.
Oh man. So so the book's coming out, right? So you're working on this book, and you learn how to put a book together. Can you share with the audience like when we can expect a book, how we can find it when it's ready?
Right. I'm not gonna say when to expect it, just because I want to, make sure. I don't want to. I'm not trying to be a perfectionist, but I just want to make sure I don't rush any of the process. You know what I'm saying? So, it's also not something that I want to like put out next summer. I'm trying to get it out as soon as I can, but I just want to make sure that everything is in order and not rush it in order to just like stay up to date on the things that I'm doing. Like my socials, I'm always posting on there. So, my Instagram, the Brandon 510, and then my website, thebrandon.co is, really the best way to stay abreast to like what I'm doing and to, keep up with when this book will be launching.
Okay, cool. So guys, you guys got to give him a follow on Instagram and check out his website. His photography is amazing. Like I am ready to buy some prints. I have been putting together a mixed art wall. It's been my little home passion project. So I will definitely be looking for some prints to put up on my wall. But check him out on Instagram, check out his website, check out his video content of his sabbatical in Southeast Asia. It was amazing. It looked amazing. I wish I was there, but like all the episodes are bite sized and just so engaging. So I can't. Yeah, no, you're just like my hero right now. I haven't been able to travel much for the last year. I've been, trying to get myself settled and my daughter settled. We moved to the Dallas area a few years ago, so that's been a change for us. But man, whenever I want to get away, I just pull up your videos and I'd be like, boom.
I love it. That's the like one of the main reasons that I do it. Like I want to just, give people a window out of the life that they're living right now, but also provide inspiration and also education and show, the people that have not really traveled, especially solo and done it like a cheap way. I want to show like how easy it is to do it. So every time people tell me that, how inspired they are and stuff, like it's just so much more a confirmation that like what I'm doing is working, and like the path that I've chosen when it comes to this travel, but also sharing my travels is the right thing. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, just seeing you do this and then like knowing that you're traveling with a laptop and like photography equipment is just eye opening, and it gives you perspective because I think many of us that might have grown up in the late 2000s know the movie, right?
Right, right.
Hostel, and we probably were scarred by it, like myself. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate your videos because I think we get stuck in our ways and we label certain things in a certain way, and we forget to really dive in and explore it ourselves to clear the air on what our subconscious is probably keeping us from doing, you know?
Right, right. I need more people of color to take up these spaces. I'm like, I don't mind being the only black person or the only person of color in a room, but like, damn, it would be nice if like I can show up places and it's like people of color and it's, you know what I mean? I'm not just a token black guy every goddamn time I stay at a hostel. So like, please, people out there of color, like, let's get into the world and like, let's see, let's start, spreading our culture around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, keep doing your thing, and like, hopefully, this can be a platform where people can hear your voice and see your travels and get inspired as well. That's the goal. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Well, Brandon, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. Like, your insight to this trip, just personally, I've been wanting to ask you about it. So, being able to talk to you about it and share it with the audience is just honestly such a gem. So, thank you for doing this.
Of course, yeah. Thank you for having me on.